Hello and welcome to turn 4 of GMT's Holland 44 Operation Market Garden short game solo playthrough. Right, we're in the afternoon of the second day and things are going to start hotting up now. We've got a lot more German units coming in here and I think the tide will start to turn. The Airborne units have one more turn of supply from their supply units, and then next turn they flip over to depleted sides, which effectively means that the divisions are out of supply until 30 Corps arrives. Just on this production here, as you can see, you've got Arnhem in front of you, and 30 Corps are just about here in front of Eindhoven, and the 101st here, 82nd here, and of course you can see the 1st Airborne. Now the tanks are starting to arrive near Arnhem, so we have our first tank unit there, a light tank unit, but certainly useful, and then there's a converted French unit coming on as well. The rest of 406th Division here is coming on, and then we've got more reinforcements on the west side up here coming in. I think the major thing this turn, other than the usual struggle for Nijmegen and Arnhem, is over here, where we have, I can just zoom in on here, the spearhead of 30 Corps here, and at the front of Arnhem we have a flak unit with a Fallschirmjäger and an unknown unit also stacked there, and sitting right on top of the road, and somehow they've got to get through it. As they're in the city, they're going to be doubled in defence, so this is going to be a really hard fought battle to get rid of those. So almost might consider going around it for the moment and hitting it from all sides. But anyway, we're on to the artillery resupply phase, which is the Airborne, the 1st Airborne supply unit, and also the 30 Corps and Guards Armoured Division. Artillery will flip over. The Allies are only allowed 2 a turn, so the 50th Division one up here is not going to flip over. It's going to have to wait its turn. So that's the artillery resupply phase. The bridge phase, there will be a completed bridge here, underneath here, and that will now allow the 8th Corps units forward. So 11th Armoured is waiting to cross here. Now, as far as repairing any other bridges, there isn't really anywhere we could do that. So moving on to the landing phase. So we landed the troops in the morning from the gliders and parachutes, so there isn't any afternoon airdrop. However, we do flip over the air units for use, so we still have the 2 air units. Now, interestingly enough, the next morning, which is turn 6, which will be the next weather roll, there's a +2 on the dice, so it's almost definitely likely to be cloudy. I think it is. It's very unlikely to be clear. reasonably likely to be overcast, at least in the morning, so that reduces the number of air units. Overcast is 0, cloudy is 1, so the air support is going to lessen next turn. This probably means that we really have to get things sorted in Eindhoven this turn before we lose the aircraft for the night, and then the next day they're not going to come back in the same strength. So onto the movement phase. I'll then go through all the movement here and then recap as before. So after movement, we've consolidated ourselves in Arnhem here. Not going to move out, I think. Strong enough defence, doubled in the town and city hexes. Thought about an attack here, but I don't think it's necessary. Getting ready to kind of shut down the expanse and just hold what we've got here. Produce some breakdown units from the battalions just to cover the river here, so we don't want to get any naughty business coming across the Rhine here. So yeah, that's 1st Airborne. I think fairly well set. I think they can last for a decent amount of time as they are there. They can withdraw further. They don't really need these landing zones unless they want the poles to drop here, but they have the option of the poles dropping here and here as well. Remember, they can drop adjacent. They don't have to be on the drop zone. So we've got options with the poles anyway, and then we can consolidate back down to Arnhem and Oosterbeek over time, and maybe feed some more small units in. Over at the 82nd, again, we really don't have the power to have another attempt here. So we're going to go for some replacements, and there will be one combat, one attack against this unknown unit here. Just see what it's about. We attempted to move, we moved next to this bridge here, and it was blown. And here we actually moved into the hex with the unknown unit. It was an alarm company. There was a combat and a DR result, and it failed to do a determined defence, so it retreated to and disrupted, and the airborne unit moved in here, and the bridge was actually taken. That railroad bridge there was actually taken. That's the 82nd. So over in the 101st area, we've tactically moved some more paratroop units over the canal. This unit moved to attack the unknown unit in that hex, which turned out to be a garrison 0. So it was removed, and the unit took the town. And we're looking to do a combat here to see what kind of unit that is, and then just shuffled around at the top here just to cover areas. I'm not so fussed about this bridge. I think we'll concentrate on the Son bridge. So even though it's getting a bit of pressure here, I think I think it's more useful to get through Eindhoven than to worry too much about this bridge itself. Over in 30 Corps, well, it's all gone a bit manic here. So with the bridge over here, 11th Armour has poured across, and we're going to do a combat here against this unit. We've weaved our way through the traffic here for a lot of units, moved the artillery up, so we're not going to get artillery support this turn other than the newly arrived 11th Armoured artillery here is going to help this combat. Up north, the 50th Division with a unit borrowed, so it's an assigned unit from the 11th Armoured, is going to try and get across the stream here, and we're still kind of covering this zone A, because that won't turn over until the next afternoon, which is in 3 turns time, so we do have to cover in case a German unit appears there. Over here, a 30 Corps 44th Royal Tank Regiment here, with the infantry which attacked last turn here, is going to attempt to get into Veldhoven. And we've got a combat here, down here, with that Fallschirmjäger unit I moved up to kind of trap those guys so they couldn't move off. Finally, we're going to have a fight for this hex here. It's not going to be a brilliant combat. There's no artillery support. We're not going to get tank support either because of the flak unit. But we'll see if we can hammer our way in some way or form into that part of Eindhoven as well. If both of those attacks succeed, I'm not really thinking that this might do, but if the paratroops can also get into there, we actually have a road with only the unknown unit here getting in the way. So yeah, that's all the movement done. So I'll get on with the combat, and yeah, we'll see what happened. The combat phase, starting with the 82nd, moving to the 101st and then to 30 Corps to keep a bit of suspense there, as most of the combat is happening over to the south. So we just had the one attack here to the unknown unit. Turned out to be a flak unit. Not great news for the parachute unit. However, it's 1-to-1, make you do a 2-to-1 with the elite, and actually rolled a 6. So that was a D1, and the flak unit was removed. And unit moved in, and on top of that, they captured the bridge intact again. Remember, that was the one that was rewired. So we're still clear over this canal. And yeah, that was it for the 82nd. On the 101st, we had a combat. Let me get rid of the glare here for you, or some of the glare. Combat here against this unit. It was 3-to-1 with the morale bonus. We rolled a 6 again, so very good for the Allies, and another D1 result. So therefore, this unit is removed as well. And subsequently, this bridge was blown. We moved to the hex, but this one is intact. Not as useful as that one would have been, but hey, never mind. So that was that attack completed for the 101st. Significant stuff happened in Eindhoven as we come towards 30 Corps. So this parachute unit that removed the garrison marker from here attacked into here, and this was also a garrison marker. So again, removed and an advance into the city. So one hex of Eindhoven is done. Here in the other hex, the main attack here, the unknown unit underneath was a garrison as well. So we had 3 garrison units in Eindhoven. It's not particularly impressive there. However, the attack itself, it was only a 2-to-1. We've got a 5, which is a DR, but on the determined defence, it's in a city. There was a roll, and it was a 6, which meant there was no casualties and no retreat either. So complete stalemate there. The used aircraft not being decisive. Now down here, we had the combat here between the infantry and the recon unit here, and the Fallschirmjäger here. This was this became a, just checking which one it was. It was a D1 result. Yeah, it was 2-to-1. I rolled another 6. So yeah, another D1. Sorry, not a D1. It was a DR, and so the unit retreated. That here was disrupted. Didn't really bother about. Actually, no, that's wrong. It was a D1. That should actually be flipped. It's retreated down here. The recon unit followed up. Oh, actually, he can't. He could follow up to here, but that's all. So he followed up to there because he couldn't hop over the minor river there. So I did that incorrectly. So yeah, so we've got some defence here now, but that's got rid of that unit holding back the infantry, and the infantry actually advanced that way over there. Over here we had a quite a big combat, high stakes combat. It was 6 to 1. We rolled a 3, which is DMR. So this unit, no chance of determined defence, has run back into the marsh here, try and stay away. And with road bonus, this 11th Armoured moved up towards the main road, and this section moved here. I did use the 3rd Division's unit there halved as an associated unit, but it wasn't it wasn't full strength, of course. I think, oh yeah, we just had the 2 combats up north. So this one here, not as good odds as I thought it was when looking at it. I don't try and look at the odds too closely. So yeah, in Veldhoven we had a 4 to 1. It was a 4, which became an A1D1. So we lost a step off the tank unit, and this unit is removed. I didn't quite want to turn that person into a remnant, and the advance was with the road bonus here, and this just moved in. I think that was quite a crucial combat, because what we don't want is these units coming filtering down here. So if we've got something stationed in Veldhoven, it's kind of a flank guard for the operations in Eindhoven. And over here, we had a 2 to 1 attack here, because it's all across the minor river. No tank bonus either. We rolled a 1, which is an A1 engaged, so this unit had to flip, and the engage marker there, so it's difficult for that unit to move away in its turn, but otherwise unharmed. So yeah, that's the 2 combats there. Once we have that, we have the recovery phase, which we don't really need to bother about, I think, with the Allies. Just remove the replacement markers at the 82nd. Now that's complete. Supply phase. So again, I think we're okay for everybody here. We have roads leading back to the 30 Corps start area, and of course the Airborne has their link to their supply as well. So yeah, oh actually that's not true. Actually these can these guys, sorry, on the other side of Eindhoven, can they actually trace? And I think they can, because they can go through the town of Eindhoven and down now around, so they can get around this blockage, if you see. So they're actually, even though the other side of the canal, they are in supply, but only for this turn, because next turn starts the lack of supply for Airborne. Right, so we then have to continue with the German part of the turn, which starts with the artillery resupply. No artillery is being fired off. The only artillery we have here is under a moved counter, so won't have been fired off, and I think it's it needs to, sorry, just down here, it possibly needs to withdraw a bit, so it's rather close to the paratroopers now, with only a company looking after it. Yeah, so I think we'll blow that bridge as well, because we don't want paratroopers coming across. And yeah, that's okay for artillery resupply, and then we're on to the bridge phase. So let's look at what we can do with the bridge phase. So the bridge phase, we only really do one bridge here, which is this one across the canal south of Eindhoven. It means that we can't get things filtering around that way. Decided to keep this bridge because the artillery can withdraw and there are some reinforcements coming in their foot, so they're not very fast, but they will be there before the Airborne can do anything if it really wanted to. And elsewhere I think we're fairly set. So we're into the movement phase for the Germans. So I'll do all the movement and then do a recap with you and go through what I've done. So movement's done. What we've done here is we've actually upgraded one of the counter groups here with this remnant movement, removing it from the game. And we've lined up here. We're going to have a combat here. First one for the Germans around Arnhem. I think this is possibly the weakest point here, is to try and push through to the river and cut the pocket in two, rather than try and slog through the city for the moment. I've also brought a unit over the ferry here as well, so it can help down in Nijmegen. I think it might be useful to have an extra unit there. We've actually brought on the rest of the 406 division. So just clear that glare out of the way if I can. Not very effectively without messing the board up. Yeah, the 406 have moved on. We've now got an artillery unit as well, and I think we'll open up a combat here against that unit and start to push into the perimeter from this side. And up on the 101st area, so reinforcements are coming in here. We've got an artillery unit just came on, and we're going to do a couple of combats here, see if we can start pushing back the 101st and compact that area as well. Down in the south, withdrawn the artillery unit. It'll be able to support this guy, so I think we're pretty safe there. We can blow the bridge if we want to, but it might be useful to try and get back over. And we've got reinforcements coming up this road anyway. Over in Eindhoven and its environs, let me place the camera easily here. So I think these guys are going to just have to stand and die, because they're preventing the they're doing a great job of preventing the advance. They're going to be outflanked over the top here, that's true, but we'll see how well they do. We brought the SS unit on extended movement along the roads to here, not on extended movement, sorry, just on standard movement to here, to try and block any movement down here, to possibly use this bridge, or just trying to disrupt the 101st units there as well. Up in the north, brought a unit on as a reinforcement here just to cover this flank. This unit's withdrawn, engaged, so it can only go one hex. And I've brought the damaged Fallschirmjäger unit, which was here. I've pushed it back over there just to keep the 50th Division honest around A. So for the next couple of turns before it becomes an Allied controlled edge. And in the south, reorganise the troops so that they're in defensive positions, towns and marshes, and we'll just go and do a recovery on those in a second. So there's no combats here. The combats are all further up the board to the north, but let's get back to those combats. So as these are the first serious German counterattacks here, I thought I'd do them manually. So we'll look at this combat. This is an 8 in defence, and we have 5 and 7. So it is a 1-to-1. We have a tank tank bonus because of this tank here. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this artillery in defence to remove that shift. Yeah, I think we can use it that way. Let me just check. Actually, that's incorrect. What we can use it for is to get a dice roll bonus on a determined defence, but not actually on the combat roll. So we're on 1-to-1, going to a 2-to-1 at the outskirts of Arnhem. So let's roll for this on a 2-to-1. It's a 5, which is a DR, so there's a retreat involved for that unit. I think we'll do the determined defence. We're in an other, but we will use the artillery. So that gives us a +1 on the dice, and it is an elite unit, which gives us +2 on the dice. So let's roll the dice and see what happens on the other column of the defence table. It's a 1, which with the +2 is a 3. That's actually a failure, so it does actually have to retreat and become disrupted. So that's well done as a initial combat there. We could go 1 hex and lose a step. That might be a good idea. So we don't want that tank unit getting through to the river. So we'll do that. We will take a step loss. Unfortunate result of a 1 there. We'll replace this unit with a remnant and stop after 1 hex. And with the DR, then there's a normal advance. So we will, I think we'll keep possibly, yes, we'll possibly go that way, I think, and put the tank in as well. So that's that combat. Over here we have 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. So that's 1-to-1 again. Though there is a tank shift for 2-to-1. And a 3 on 2-to-1 is an exchange. So with the exchange, we could actually kill that tank unit, and I think we'll do that because the opposition gets to choose which unit loses a step, and of course the parachute unit loses a step as well. So not a great combat there. We lost our French tanks in that, but we did knock a step off, which is great. Over in let's have a look at 82nd. Now we have this attack here. 2, 5, 5 and 7 is 12. 12 to 4. 12 to 4 is 3-to-1, and we have the artillery unit. 12 to 4 is 3-to-1. That goes to a 4-to-1. So yeah, it's a good attack here. Let's roll this. A 4-to-1 is an A1D1. So that unit suffers a step loss. And either retreat or do a determined defence. Well, if it's losing a step, then we'll place a remnant. If I can pick up the remnant here. And I don't think we'll do the defence because it's quite likely to actually lose it completely. Normal advance, but there is a loss, so we'll take it from possibly this unit, I think, and normal advance, so I think we'll move into there, and to there. where was this unit? I think he was on top, wasn't he? Yes. Okay, so that's put a big hole in the 82nd's defence there. Not good. And they've captured the town as well. So, and that needs a disruption marker as well. So yeah, problems there. Up in the 101st, we have a straight 2 to 1 here. So we'll just roll that dice. A1DR, so we take a loss. And a DR, which we could try and stop. Determined defence isn't clear, so it's unlikely to work, and if it does, it's going to cause a step loss. So I think we will pull back. Okay, this attack here, we have 6 versus 3 as a 2 to 1, but we have the artillery here in support, so 2 to 1 goes to 3 to 1. 5. That's an A1D1, so automatic step loss on each side, and the D1, I think we'll have to retreat again because it's open ground here. Retreat back to the supply head, and we'll advance that, I think. So yeah, another and disruption marker, of course, as well. So headway being made, finally, for the Germans. And that's the combat, because there isn't any others. Was in the 30 Corps sector around the Eindhoven area. There is no combat there, so just moving on to recovery, removing disruptions on the German side, and full retreat, and yeah, let's take a look at supply phase after that, which I think there is supply for the German unit, certainly. So that's down to the traffic marker phase, and we have now 3 markers now to place. And interestingly enough, I think if I move over to Eindhoven, I think some traffic in that western side of the that western road would be useful, and certainly place one there. And I think the last one needs to be on this side. I think just want to guard against too much exploitation down here, and then we roll the dice to see for removal. We get a 54, so 4 comes off anyway. It's placed, and number 5. Just checking where that is. That isn't that one. It isn't. No, that's 6. That's intact. I think it's this one underneath here, which is unfortunate. That's done sterling service, really. No, that's number 3, so that's still in. Where's number 5? Oh, 5 is right at the back. So yeah, no problems with that then. Good. Okay. Well, that's very good, because the traffic around Eindhoven is there. Shame about the eastern flank down here, but well, never mind. Okay. So we're here at the end of turn 4. I thought I'd give you a panoramic view of what's happening in the on the map as a whole. We concentrated on the particular sectors, and you can kind of lose the bigger picture. What we have over here is the bulk of 30 Corps, just in this area in front of Eindhoven, and the 101st here. So you see the Germans have started to penetrate to the north here, and we have sort of a big blank area here between the Vagel and the Grave bridges, and we're then down to the 82nd, which has started to take a bit of a hammering from the 406 now, coming through. So maybe a withdrawal of strength from Nijmegen to try and shore up the defences, I think, is in order. And then over here you see the 101st here, where the first setback has been that combat we just had with the tank company supported SS attack, and it's actually taken a hex and got the Germans to within 1 hex of the river here. So this is the pinch point, something that the 1st Airborne is going to have to deal with. We had a sort of trade-off up at the top, which is not as consequential, certainly, and the tanks were lost up in the north as well. So yeah, that's where we are. You can see the removed German units up in the top corner there, and just the 101st Artillery that eliminated on landing. So on to turn 5. So turn 5 is a night turn, and so no aircraft, no airdrops, and yeah, we'll see if 30 Corps can actually bash their way into Eindhoven this time, or is it going to be yet another turn's delay? Anyway, well, thanks for listening again. Hope it's enjoyable for you, and give us any feedback that you have for anything I got wrong. I think it's I've just about settled in with the rules now, and but let me know if I've missed something. Certainly if it's significant, but even if it's not, it would be nice to know. And I hope you can join me for turn 5 in the next video. Thanks for watching.